Hello everyone and welcome to KDH Art Class. So last time I did a 1-point perspective from a bird's eye view of a city with some options. You could turn them into buildings, you could just do beautiful little shooting pictures out, and we cut around the shapes to create even more 3-dimension than just what was on the paper. All about what I tell my students is a little bit of a secret. I'm just going to show you some secrets that artists know to make these cool things happen, and I like to do it at the beginning levels. So let's just talk about how artists make a square look 3-dimensional. Again, 3-dimensional means not only do you know how long it is or how tall it is, just like this piece of paper, we know how long it is and how tall it is, but a 3-dimensional object has height. So you can turn it like sideways and you can see how thick or tall it is, height-wise. So you got length, you have width, and you have height. That's 3 things: length, width, height. This piece of paper, however, has the length and the width, but it has no height. It is a piece of paper, so you don't really see it. But it doesn't mean it can't look that way. So artists have learned over time how to make things look real. And nowadays, there are artists out there that can make it look super real, hyper real, so real that it's like unbelievable. But again, let's just talk about the basics. We're going to take this square and we're going to make it look 3-dimensional. Or as your math teachers would say, cube. So we're going from a square to a cube, and then we're going to turn it into a fun little decorative box. That is the plan. You basically need something to draw with, something to draw on, and a straight edge so that you can make nice straight lines. That's going to help it out. Okay, I'm going to use the clear one. It just makes it easier for you to kind of see what's going on my paper. I'm even going to turn my paper. No, we'll leave it like this. I'm always changing my mind as we go. Alright, just like the cityscape, everything goes down to 1 point. Okay, you'll notice all the buildings seem to be ending up right there at that 1 point. That's 1-point perspective. So we're going to do basically the same thing here. We're going to start off, and I like to do it in the corner when I'm doing these. Just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to just make a little point. I'll make mine a little bit bigger so you can see it, but you don't need to make it that large. Then on each corner, you're also going to need a point or a dot on each one. Again, let me make these bigger. Please don't make yours super big. In fact, you probably don't even need them if you know what the corners are. But if you're first starting out, you're going to need something to remind you where you start and finish. Yes, I can put one here, but there's a rule to 1-point perspective. 1, everything must go to this dot. That's called the vanishing point. Since this is my practice paper, vanishing point. This would be a great notebook or sketchbook project. So I have my vanishing point. Everything's going to go right there. But the second rule is you cannot go through something unless, of course, you're drawing glass or something transparent, clear looking. This box is not. So yes, I could put a dot there. I don't need it because to get here, it would have to go through my box. And since that's a no-no to rule number 2, I'm not even going to do it. Okay, what is she talking about? let's get started. Everything must go to this vanishing point. So I like to put my pencil there, and then I know I can move my straight edge around from that point. And I can start with this bottom one. Rule 1, it must go to the vanishing point. So this dot's going to go there. I use my straight edge. I'm going to push my pencil against the ruler so I have a nice straight line. Now, heads up, if you push too sideways, you can actually go underneath your ruler, and you don't want that to happen, or your straight edge. Okay, that's going to not give you a straight line, that's going to give you a little crooked line. Ooh, wow, at home I have some really old pencils, because that was a yucky eraser. Let's see, will this one help? Again, this is just my little practice paper, but you see why you need to take care of your erasers. Okay, very good. The next dot is right here. Rule 1, must touch the vanishing point. Rule 2, cannot go through something. Well, it's not going through anything here. So I made that second line. Alright, I got one more dot over here. Rule 1, must go to the vanishing point. Rule 2, it cannot go through anything. Okay. So right now it's already giving the illusion, that magic, that's making it look like it's starting to come off your paper. In fact, we're imagining our paper is here and this is coming towards us. That's all these little secrets. But we want to turn this into a box, not just something shooting across. Okay, this is where it gets a little more tricky. Here is my box. I'm going to slide this over and make sure it's parallel. A lot of kids start going, but it's going this way. For some reason they want to turn their ruler this way. No. Okay. You want to make it parallel. Parallel means these two lines are going straight up side by side and they're never going to touch. Okay. If I was to go like this, this line would touch that line, and where they're, no, we don't want touching. We do want it to go straight up to never touch this line. Alright, now I'm going to make my line go from this line to this line. I'll make this nice and dark so you can see. Okay. And I have another line here. Now these are right angles, but I'm not worried about that. This one is going to need to be parallel to this one. So I need to make them parallel again. And I need it to touch where this line ends. So I gotta look at two things. Is my line parallel? A little bit better there. And is it touching that spot? Go ahead and connect those two lines. And guys, this is just going to take practice. I know I'm eyeballing it, but with practice, you're going to do just fine. Okay. I no longer need these lines here. I'm going to let it partially show so that you can remember your steps. Yes, my new students, now that I'm in a stay-at-home kind of school situation, you just heard them go barking by. Yeah. Okay, I can actually see I probably need to bring this one down a little bit more because it's coming out wider at the bottom. If yours is not doing really good and you have a wider bottom, then just make a new line. Okay, so I was not as parallel as I thought I was going to be. And that will straighten that out. And you just erase. So I know if you take art classes, you've heard your art teacher say again and again, you know, start light till it's right. Well, when I'm on YouTube, I'm sitting here trying to show you. So I'm pressing hard, so I can't erase it 100%. And a lot of beginners, that's going to be their issue. They're not going to be able to erase it very well. But again, this is practice. We're just understanding how the magic works. Okay, so I now have a cube. We're at that stage right there. So it's three-dimensional. We got the height, we have the width, and we can see how deep it is. Okay. My goodness, I think I did a terrible job. I needed this to go this way. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, from there, I have a new corner right there. And I need that corner to go down. Okay. And I don't need to worry about the vanishing point. I just need that corner to go down. So now you're starting to see the box form. Okay. And from here, we now go into value. And value is how light or dark you make it. So, for example, you have different values of orange here. Okay. You have kind of a light, a medium, a dark. You even have a lighter orange. You know, there's different values. They're all orange, but they're different values of orange. Since we're just using this pencil, we're going to focus on this. Now, value, when you're trying to make something look real or three-dimensional, you need to figure out where is your light source. What is a light source? It could be where the sun is shining. Okay? It could even be, you know, the light bulb inside of your lamp on your desk or at your house, shining down, wherever your light source is. Alright. Whatever it's touching is going to be lightest, and whatever is furthest from it is going to be darkest. Now, if the light is coming this way, it's going to hit the outside of the box, but it's not going to hit the inside wall here. So we're going to start with the darkest. Okay. And just taking your pencil, go ahead. Again, you notice I go nice and slow in the corners. Carefully darken up that wall of your box. Okay. Ta-da. And since the light is going to be hitting on this side of that wall, on this side of the wall, it's not going to be hitting on this side, so this side is going to be dark. And I'm going to try and keep it simple and just stick with like dark, medium, light. And try and stay in your lines. And practice, practice, practice. I say practice because you're going to want your dark to be equal, not scratchy looking, kind of like mine is right now. But this is more of a rush job and an introduction. Nice and dark on this one. Now, because it's inside, it's going to be harder for the light to touch this one. Alright, so this is going to be your medium. Yes, the light can touch it, but it's not shining directly on it from that side. I remember it's touching the outside of this dark wall, it's touching the other side of this dark wall, and it's kind of touching this one. So let's go medium. So taking your pencil, notice I'm not pushing as hard on it, and I'm just going to give it a nice medium. Okay. So it's starting to come to life in here. Sorry, need my consistency in there. Starting to come to life. Now it's starting to look like you can see inside the box because you have different values, and your square turned into a cube because we use the vanishing point, and once it's a cube we can make it fancy like a box. Okay, the same thing on this side. Now because it's on the outside of the box, I'm going to go a little bit lighter, but you can tell it's kind of the same here. Now I do like to try and go in the same direction. Notice I'm going side to side when I'm coloring as much as possible. Side to side, side to side. As much as, whoop, got a little dark there. Which means I just need to go ahead and darken everything else up just a little bit more, side to side. And I can go faster in the middle, but then I slow down and then really take my time when I get near the edges so I stay in there. Now it didn't touch this wall yet. You do need to make sure you touch that wall. It is kind of hard to get right on the edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and just make a little bit of a shadowy line there, and that way when I come into the side, it makes it easier to stop at the line without crossing. Now another little secret, because this side is super dark, it's okay if my lightness goes over there. You're not going to see it on top of it. But if I'm pressing hard, I don't want to get in this section here, because you will see it. Because if it's darker, it will cover up the lighter stuff. Alright. And finish shadowing the edge over here. Again, trying to stick with that side to side as much as possible. You might have done up and down the whole way. Okay. Side to side. So now you have your basic box. And actually, because I darkened that one up, I'm going to darken this one up a little bit. And again, I have dark on both sides, so I'm not as worried about staying in my lines. Oh, there we go. So you have a light, a medium, dark. Still not looking right. So I don't like going at the corner. I like to come up a little bit, and I'm going to make my horizon line. Alright. Horizon line is basically where the ground and the sky meet. Or in this case, where is my box? My box is on something. It's not floating in the air. But that was a terrible shade there. I'm used to drawing sideways, so I'm having to readjust here for you guys so that you can kind of see what's going on. So this over here is my horizon line. And what it did is it just put this in the foreground, and this became what's behind it, the background. all these lovely things. Well, you still have the light going, and it still doesn't look right because we don't have a shadow. Okay. Your shadow is going to be making kind of this V shape right here. I'm close enough to the edge, I could take it all the way off the edge, or I can go ahead and like stop it. Kind of get my direction of where it's going to be. And even shadows have the lighter, the medium, and the darker. It has a straight little top, so again, I can sit here and create my shadow with a straighter top, just like the box. And now, super duper duper dark. Hey, I tell the kids, as hard as you can press on your pencil, that's going to be your shadow. Again, this is just the beginning. And you notice I went right over this line. I only needed to know where the point was. And you do need to make sure you make it darker than the side of your box so that they don't look like one and the same. I did kind of change my directions here because this is kind of coming to a point. I'm shadowing that way. You don't have to. You can stick with the one direction. Again, kind of do my little outline here. Now to cover this larger area, you can't see it, but instead of going straight up on my pencil, I'm starting to use more of the side of my pencil tip. So it'll cover up a larger area. It's a little bit softer looking that way. And I'm trying to get this as dark as possible. I can put more pressure on it without poking a hole in my paper, which I've done. You know, that's what practice does. You learn that, oh, yeah, that was too hard, and don't do that again. Alright, and voila, we took a square, we turned it into a cube, and then using value we created a box. Then we added our horizon line, and I always tell the kids I don't want it to be the same color as your background, so you can add that medium to light shading on it. You can even get lighter as you're going down. Okay, kind of hitting. Yeah. As you're going down, it just kind of shows a little bit of depth. And voila, you have created a three-dimensional looking square, also known as a cube, and when you draw it, a box. How fun would it be to add a little surprise toy, puppy, animal coming out of the box? Even a kid. But enjoy your lesson and stay tuned to KDH Art Class for more lessons like this. You can subscribe to my channel where I have a variety of things. It's not just drawing, it's a little bit of everything. Stay safe and keep creating. Bye.